Over 300,000 people now watch the story of Chichi, the rescue dog, and how ultimately she rescued me at one of the darkest points of my life. Thousands of people asked for photos of her. They're in the comments, and thousands of people, they wanted to know what happened next. What happened next with Chi Chi is she was a completely transformed dog. And her love transformed a lot of people that went to my gym over the years. As for me, you know, I had therapy through it all, through my wife's addiction, because I wanted to help her as best as I could. And it was uncharted territory for me. I had never been addicted to anything. And after the dark part of it went down, I continued with the therapy. It was also recommended to me to read the book Man's Search for Meaning. I ended up reading it 4, 5, 6 times. And one of the lines that really struck with me was taking the suffering we've endured in life and creating something meaningful from it. You know, if you watch the one video around the same time that was going down, my best friend Jay was dying of cancer. So it was quite the 1-2 punch. And when I thought about creating meaning from it all, of all of the suffering, I had really hated how helpless I felt through everything. And ultimately, we are all only in control of ourselves. But I made that determination that I wanted to help people on the deepest possible level that I could. Because I didn't want to feel hopeless anymore. So read lots of books, got lots of therapy, took lots of classes, and then ultimately the therapist also knew I had a lot of wounds to heal, and he just wanted to make sure I was alone for at least a year. Just solitude, healing it all up. And then at the end, it actually ended up being about 13 or 14 months, I was all alone. And I went back to the therapist, and I loved being alone. And in the middle of all that, my nephew's father had abandoned them and moved to Costa Rica. And I got to be a dad to them, and that was really rewarding. We have a super tight relationship to this day. But the therapist ultimately asked me if he thought I was meant to be alone, and I wanted to lie to him and say yes, because relationships, they can be messy, they can be beautiful. And I wouldn't lie to this guy. He'd helped me so much. His name was John Emanuel, and I said, no, I'm probably not meant to be alone. I certainly have a lot of love to give. And what he had me do next was really life changing, and I encourage you all to do it, even if my situation isn't exactly your situation. He had me write out a list of 30 ideal qualities of my future romantic partner, wife, whatever you want to say, whatever your situation is. And I took a couple weeks, thought about it. I mean, 30 was a very, very long list, but it forced me to go really, really, really deep. And then ultimately, I brought the list back to him, and he read it, chuckled a few times. One of the things was never will ask me to stand in a group photo. That's probably another video for another day. But the funny part is I ended up meeting someone who was 100% introverted and has no interest in standing in group photos. So there is that. And then he asked me, are you all of the things on this list? And I said, sir, yeah, for the most part, absolutely. I'm all of those things, and they're all trending in the right direction. And his expression was, because it's never fair to expect other people to be something you are not. And very true. He told me no reclamation projects, because I did have an addiction to being a knight in shining armor. And then he asked me how I was going to find this person. And I said, well, sir, I will never set foot in a bar, also known as a house of ill repute. I'm not meeting anybody at church, and nobody has anybody they want to set me up with. So I really don't know. Suffice to say, that was not an acceptable answer for Mr. Emmanuel, and he had me join a dating site. So this would have been in 2014. So that's where we will end today's story, and we'll pick up here tomorrow. And thank you for going on this ride with me. Have a great God day.